Hello, this is Away from Voivod, and you're watching Impact Channel.
Hello everyone, our guest today is Away from Voivod. Hey,
Hello.
Nice to meet you.
Nice meeting you.
So how are you? How is the tour with Earthship?
So far it's really great, very well attended, which is super for us, and tons of fun, and yeah, a lot of tourism in Rome and Pula, and I mean it's what I love to do is to travel and play music, and that's why I can't stop. I've been doing that for 34 years now.
And we are glad you're here.
I'm really glad to be here.
You released an EP last year called Post Society. Are you happy with the reactions?
Yeah, all the critics were really good, and reviews I mean, and the people who love Voivod really dig it, and they seem to think it's a return to form, and so we wrote a new album. It's in the same vein, like a continuation, but a little more progressive thrash, complicated, yeah.
Mm-hmm. This year we are celebrating the 30th anniversary of Killing Technology, and next year is going to be the 30th anniversary of Dimension Hatros. Have you thought about playing one of your classic records in its entirety?
We were asked to do that this year. And we are asked to do that next year for Dimension Hatros, but it's not something we are really into doing unless it's a festival. But on tour we prefer to sort of play greatest hits of Voivod. We think it's more festive, and Dimension Hatros is can be a bit serious, and so we're thinking about it, but we kind of prefer to do an overview of our career, usually.
Have you thought about playing some B-side tracks and rarities, songs like Vortex or Drift?
Oh, it's a tough one because we have so many songs. We can't even cover all the albums, so we try to play the songs that people would like to hear the most. That's how we think we should be doing, but I can't really think of a moment where we played a B-side, or even like except for maybe back in the day we played Cockroaches, and it was like only on a picture disc for a while. Yeah.
And do you plan to play some songs from Negatron and Phobos in the future?
Sometimes we play Forlorn from Phobos. Maybe someday we'll play Nanoman from Negatron. That would be cool.
Are you in touch with Eric?
Eric, yeah. Whenever we play, he lives in Toulouse, so if we play around Toulouse, he'll usually come on stage with us to sing Tribal Conviction or Voivod, or we're still in touch.
Do you like his band E-Force?
Yes, I like it. Yeah, they like tech trash. I think it's cool.
You get some remix songs on the album called Chronic. Have you thought about releasing a whole remix album?
Well, not really, because it was okay in '98. To me, it would probably sound dated if we would do a remix album right now. It was very popular back then. Everybody did it, Fear Factory, but right now, I don't think it's important for us to do that nowadays.
Your band is one of the most influential bands from the 80s, really appreciated by the musicians and the fans too. If you could pick the bands and the artists for a Voivod tribute album, who would you like to hear to cover your songs?
Wow, that's a tough one. I mean, probably like Vector, Meshuggah, bands that I consider children of Voivod, although they might not be influenced by Voivod, or they are influenced but not directly, or they are there are quite a few bands nowadays that try to play sci-fi trash, and it could be interesting to have a tribute to Voivod. Yeah. Yeah.
And beside the music, the artwork is really special too. In case of Voivod, what does art mean to you?
Oh, it's like an escape from reality. It's strange because my art was always, to me, an escape from this planet, which I consider pretty scary. But then it's a reflection of this planet. So it's like it's an escape, but it's not, because I always end up expressing my fears about this planet. So so it's sort of an expression of my worries.
If there were no limits at all, how would you imagine the dream Voivod gig?
Well, 2 days ago we were in Pula, Croatia, and we went to the amphitheater. I think it's 3,000 years old or something.
Wow.
And they have concerts there, like Massive Attack or Manu Chao, and it'd be amazing to have a thrash metal festival there. Yeah.
If your music was a soundtrack for a movie or for an art exhibition, how do you imagine that?
Art exhibition might have something to do with cyberpunk, maybe. For a movie, let's say, it would have been really great to have Voivod do the music for the new Blade Runner, because it's made by a person from Montreal that is very well known there, and it would have been really great.
I was about to say that one too. And would you compose a soundtrack if you had the chance?
Oh yeah. We tried many times to approach people regarding that, but it's so far the only thing we had was an introduction. The first part of the movie, Heavy Metal 2, is a Voivod song, Ion, and that's all we got so far. Although there might be some Voivod songs on movies that I don't know of.
If someone gave you an unfilled check and say, all right, now you can create your own movie or your own TV series to make the Voivod universe come true, who would you like to pick for that movie? Which director? Which actor?
Oh, you mean like a movie with real actors?
Yes, to create the Voivod universe on the screen.
Wow, that's a tough one. I really like the guy who does Hellboy. Yeah, and it's a cool actor. That's a tough question. Somebody like Ridley Scott could do something cool with us. Maybe David Lynch, I don't know.
What did you think about the last Alien movie, Covenant?
Oh, I actually watched it on the way here in the plane.
All right.
I like it a lot. Yeah, and it seems to indicate that there'll be a sequel again. So it's kind of cool. Yeah, it's hard with Alien. It's hard to not to cover the same ground over and over. But I really like the aesthetic of the movies.
If you were a part of an alien race, an intelligent alien race, what would you think about mankind?
It's hard because all of my life I struggled with burning of witches and war, nuclear weapons, and what is astonishing to me is the way we are killing each other. So I would probably be pretty disappointed with that aspect of humanity, is we tend to kill each other a lot, which I don't understand.
Yeah, so possibly the aliens would think that we are kind of an inferior race that cannot handle any struggles or anything, just kill each other for no reasons like religions and stuff.
Yeah, I guess if they don't want to intervene, they probably come here to watch the show and wait for the end.
Like in South Park?
Yeah.
If you should represent humanity with any kind of piece of art to an alien race, what would you pick for that?
Maybe Leonardo da Vinci, the human with the proportion in a circle.
All right.
Maybe this. I don't know. It's a real interesting question.
Do you think that legends and mythologies and religious stories contain some truth about our creation?
Yeah, during the Angel Rat days, I studied mythology from all the countries, and I realized that they are the same stories all over the planet, but with different animals. So I realized that there is an original manuscript somewhere, maybe in Iraq, I don't know, but with all of these folk tales that are actually a depiction of reality from the origin of mankind, from folk tales to the Bible to scrolls, and I realize it's actually connected, yeah. Like same as what people say about pyramids all over the planet and all that, yeah.
Have you read any book from Zecharia Sitchin?
He's the one who got me to think that the 12th planet is where I realized that there is an original manuscript somewhere that started the whole mythology of mankind. Yeah.
If you had a chance to go for a time travel, where would you like to go?
I would not go too far because I find that let's say in the Dark Ages it's really bad, and I'd be very interested to go, or maybe I would go further down in time, let's say 4,000 or 5,000 years ago, to see how the big monuments were built and stuff like that. Yeah,
like ancient Samaria.
Yeah, yeah, in Mesopotamia and stuff. Yeah, and places like that. Yeah.
Some people think that certain alien races are already here on Earth, and the truth will be disclosed very soon. What do you think about that theory?
Oh, I don't really believe in disclosure, but I believe that I definitely believe in flying saucers. They're being made somewhere. They exist. As for extraterrestrial, I think it's more, in my opinion, about other dimensions than other planets. Interdimensional beings, I think, is more logical to me, and of course now with quantum physics, and they're starting to figure out multi-dimensional scenarios, and so it's quite an interesting topic. Yeah.
If you could pick any planet or moon to just travel around, where would you like to go? Which planet, which moon?
Oh, I would probably try to go on Phobos to see why it doesn't have a normal orbit. If it has been manufactured, or if it's a real moon. That's something I would like to try.
People say it's gonna crash into Mars.
Yes, it will. Yeah, eventually.
What do you think about religions, by the way?
I always had a real problem with it, and especially nowadays, because people do kill each other because of that. And I personally am more of the Mabix type of point of view. No God, no master, so I've seen some documentaries where religion is very important for people to survive and keep going, and not give up, or for some people religion is very important to move ahead in life, but for me I never felt the necessity of believing in any religion at all. Yeah.
And do you have any concerns when you're going on tour because of the terrorist attacks?
All the time. Yeah. As a matter of fact, lately I was in London on two occasions where there were attacks, And in June, when we played with Voivod, there was an attack. And recently, I went to accept a Prague Music Award, and there was an attack in the subway. And so, ever since, I mean, when the Bataclan happened in Paris, we were on tour with the Death Crusher tour with Napalm Death and Carcass and Obituary, and we were in Leipzig, Germany, when it happened, and we were all watching that backstage on a computer, and we were playing Paris 9 days after, and we had to have a meeting to decide if we were going to do it, and we decided to not pay attention and do all the shows, and that's the way we prefer to move, is to not worry about it, and we keep on going as normal, you know, and otherwise we're just gonna stay home and do nothing. So it's I mean, it's probably preferable to live your life as usual. It's an unfortunate situation right now. Just maybe 4 days ago, there was an attack in Canada, in Edmonton, and same time as in Marseille, and so it's all over the planet now.
If you could meet an alien, an intelligent alien, or the creator itself, what would you like to ask?
I would probably ask why the state of this planet is I mean, the planet is in such pitiful state with pollution and war, and I would probably ask why. Is it an experiment, or, you know, like, or is it an evolutionary test, or I would probably have a lot of questions regarding what's wrong, because it's getting worse every year. So all of the fears we had in the 80s are still there today, and it's mainly the destruction of this planet. Like the pollution and high-tech weaponry is it's the same worry. It's like a recurring nightmare. And we used to talk about Chernobyl. Now we talk about Fukushima. We used to talk about the ozone layer. Now we talk about global warming, and so on and so on. So I would probably ask a few questions about that. Why it's just happening over and over, and actually getting worse. Yeah.
Are you interested in politics? Do you vote?
I'm interested in politics, but we don't talk about it directly in Voivod. It is there. There is a political content, but it's expressed through sci-fi folktales rather than naming politicians and stuff. But it is a position we take about what's going on Earth with in our lyrics, but it's not political like bands that I listen to, like Crass or Conflict, or it's not that political. But there are many bands that I admire that get their messages through the same type of imagery, like Rush or Magma. Or when you dig a little deeper, you realize these are like important messages. Yeah.
Some of the fans say that, you know, politics has no room in metal music. What do you think about that?
It's not true, especially in thrash metal, which was influenced by hardcore a lot. And back in the days, most thrash metal bands talked about nuclear weapons, and that was our way of expressing our anger, and it's angry music, but at the end of the day, it's a rock and roll show, and so I understand that people want to have fun, but if some people want to talk about important subjects, it's okay, you know.
Or even if you go further back in time, Black Sabbath played songs like War Pigs, Electric Funeral, Hole in the Sky.
Yeah, exactly. They were like an early influence on us, and it was not punk. It was before punk, but they had some political messages as well.
What was your first concert as a fan?
It was in 78 maybe, or 79, UK with Jethro Tull in Quebec, in Quebec City, and was blown away, especially by Terry Bozzio. He changed my life. I didn't know a progressive rock drummer could rock as hard, so I thought, whoa, I can do that. Yeah, but I can't do what he does. It's another story, but he has a huge influence.
And what was the first album you bought?
First album was a Beatles album. I don't know if it was a North American album, because it was different in North America. They used to compile albums by the Beatles and made them into other albums in Canada and USA. It was called Twist and Shout, and it was the first thing I bought when I was a kid. I had to mow the lawn to the neighbors and stuff like that. And I jumped from the Beatles to Kiss and Alice Cooper, and then shortly after, my sister's boyfriend showed up with Deep Purple, Black Sabbath, Uriah Heep. Then I realized I had a lot to learn drum-wise.
What was your first drum kit?
Drum kit was a Sonor. I bought it in Quebec, but it was from Germany, and it looked like the Ringo Starr drum kit, which I really like.
What was the first song you ever learned to play on drums?
First song was Honky Tonk Woman by the Stones, and I had a hard time playing it.
What was your first show as a musician?
Oh, first show was I was really young. It was my first gig. I was probably around 14, and it was for a band called the Mustangs, and it was for a wedding. And we played Beatles and Elvis Presley medley.
Cool. What are your plans with Voivod in the near future?
Well, this year we came to Europe twice, but we didn't go to USA. Instead we spent the first 6 months of the year recording an album. So as soon as we get back home at the end of October, we start recording actually in the beginning of November, and so that's our plan for the rest of the year, to record the new album. It's a concept album, very intricate. Yeah. Snake is still writing the lyrics in the bus. Right, we are finishing we're like making demos and templates on the bus right now, and trying to get ready for the studio. And Snake is still writing the lyrics, so I can't. We don't have a title for the songs. We only have working titles, but the music is ready, which is a good part. Yeah.
Music-wise, what can we expect?
It's very progressive thrash, a lot of psychedelia as well. The songs are pretty long. There is only one short rocker. All the rest is progressive music.
Great.
Yeah, kind of a continuation of Post Society in a way. Yeah.
All right, last few questions. Please name your 5 favorite albums of all time.
Oh, never mind the Bullocks by the Sex Pistols. The first Iron Maiden album, definitely. Motorhead, Ace of Spades. There is an album called H2E by Vandergraaf Generator. Number five.
Oh well, maybe.
Maybe I think it's called Hear Nothing, Say Nothing, See Nothing by Discharge.
What's the meaning of life?
I don't know what the meaning of life is, but I don't know if it's connected or anything, but for me, I have only one way of living, is live and let live. And so I guess everybody has his own meaning of life, and if you don't agree with it, there's not much you can do except to accept the fact that people have their own meaning of life. So I try to live my life and become a better person every day, really. And I learned a lot on the road. If I do something that I find that is not cool to somebody, I take it as a lesson and I try not to repeat it. And as for the meaning of life, I don't know, maybe meaning of life is to try to how can I say that before and without being too pretentious, for us it's to make people realize certain things about life. It's our meaning of life is to try to talk about things that we think will make people change a bit for the better. But it's a long shot, and I know that as an artist there's a limit to what you can do, but at least we have an outlet to talk about the things that worry us, and we think that the people listening to Voivod have the same worries after a while and might try to work into changing things a little, make the planet a bit more peaceful. Hopefully. It's I don't know if it's working, but yeah, it's all about peace to us.
Any last words to your fans?
Yeah, I just can, I mean, there's nothing I can do except for thanking them for being so supportive and loyal all through the 34 years I've been in the band. They are really the reason that keeps me going. I love to meet my friends over and over, and then their children now, and it's a wonderful experience as a human being.
Thank you for the interview.
Thank you very much. Cheers.